So hello, this is Florian Wunsch from Gold Welt. I'm here with Nick Appleyard, President and CEO of TriStar Gold, and we're doing a quick interview here. Nick is currently in Brazil at the project or at the office, and will give us a short overview about what TriStar Gold is trying to achieve, and about recent news as well, because there was quite a good news in August. So welcome, Nick, to the interview.
Thank you, Florian. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's an exciting time now.
Yeah, sure. So would you be so kind just elaborating a little bit about the TriStar Gold in general for those readers, viewers, investors who haven't heard about the story yet?
No, absolutely. So TriStar, we're a gold development company. Our principal, our core asset, and our only real asset is in Brazil, in central Brazil, in Pará state. It's a gold deposit. It has it's been growing rapidly over the last few years. We've been drilling this deposit, advancing it, de-risking it. Through the last 3 or 4 years we've had of tough markets, hard to finance, but because of the quality of the team and the quality of the project, we've been able to finance it, able to advance it. And we've gone from having a small less than 300,000 ounce resource to now having combined indicated and inferred of 2 million ounces in the ground now. So we've now moved this into a substantial ore body. Last year we got to publish a scoping study on it, and we got great returns of 51% at only $1,250 gold, and here we are today at 1,500. So life is, the project is looking sensational. Okay, wonderful.
You also have a PEA started, haven't you?
The PEA is complete now.
Complete.
So that was completed late last year. We high graded it, so we ended up with a grade of 1.45 to produce 1.1 million ounces of gold. Except internal rate of return was just over 50%, was 51% post-tax, pre-tax. Post-tax it was still 43%. And the amazing thing is, I've actually been asked recently what those numbers would be at today's gold price. And our sensitivities, because we are a very conservative group, didn't even come this high. Our sensitivities only went up to like 1,400 gold, and then the numbers were just getting ridiculously high. It's a sensationally good project.
Yeah. So 2 million ounces of gold. Is it all in the inferred category or even higher?
It's 1.3 million in inferred and 700,000 ounces in indicated.
Yeah. So we covered you in the past quite some times for readers. So you have the Esperanza projects here in Brazil. What can you say, or what can you tell us about the location you are operating in and the jurisdiction?
Okay, we're in the southern portion of Pará state. Pará is one of the main mining jurisdictions in Brazil. It's a state where the goal of the state government is to become the largest recipient of mining investment in Brazil. They are very pro-mining. It's some of the largest mines in the world of Vale are in Pará state. So it's a good jurisdiction, and more than that, we're right next to a highway, right next to a power corridor. So we have power, we have access to the project, we don't have any infrastructure challenges, we don't have any indigenous population issues, we're not near a national park. So it's in a great location where, as a mine builder, developer, you can build a mine here, so it's a good one to build like that. So it's in a good, and Brazil itself is, right now is in a stage where they are inviting in international investment, they are pro-mining, they are pro-international investment, and they want these things to happen. They want the country to get developed.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting right now. So we talked about the gold price before, and absolutely. So things are changing right now, and even if we don't lift even higher, I think 1,400, 1,500 is a quite good point to start at for developing this project.
No, absolutely. 1,500 is, like I said, our sensitivities didn't even go that high. So it's a great price for us. It's a great spot, and and I think the critical factor has been, like you and I mentioned earlier, that 1,250, 1,300 wasn't a bad price, but the bad thing for the junior sector before was there were no funds available. It was very hard to finance. now we're starting to see there some funds available, and we can finance these projects and companies now and move them forward.
Okay, so gold development and exploration story. You recently had a news release on August 6th about funding for
Yes.
8 million. So with the Royal Gold.
Absolutely, yeah. No, we were super happy with this one because the low market environment we're in, where a lower share price is. If you have to go and sell equity, the dilution is horrendous. You would have to take on to raise any substantial amount of money. So that makes it going to someone like Royal Gold, who are really the Rolls Royce of royalty companies, are the best of all of them. And for them to recognize the value in our team and in this property and in our ability to move it forward is sensational. And, and from our current existing shareholders' point of view, we've sold a 1.5% royalty for $8 million US. It's a great deal, and it's a great stamp for the project to say these guys, and these guys don't just come in and invest. They do a lot of due diligence. They looked at it in detail.
What this shows to me is that there's so much confidence about it. So if such a player comes into a junior miner like you are at the moment and takes this NSR royalty, it really shows confidence that the project can be developed eventually.
Can be built, yeah. So it's not just whether the gold is in the ground. It's like, is the whole package there? Is it a mine? Absolutely. It's permittable. It's advanceable. It's in the right location. It's got the infrastructure. It's got everything. So that's really nice. And as part of this financing, what Royal Gold do, obviously as a royalty company, they want the mine to be in production so they can make their money. So they do sort of say, okay, we'll give you $8 million, but for us, you are going to use this money to do a feasibility study now. So that's where we are today, and that's actually why I'm in Brazil. We're starting that feasibility study now. You're
starting right now with the feasibility.
Yes.
So the one of the last steps before going into production, actually. So you have the PEA. Is it a pre-feasibility study or the definite?
It'll be a pre-feasibility study at this stage, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Which means we'll probably have more indicated ounces, not as much measured as maybe you'd like in a final feasibility study. But due to the simplicity of this project, I don't think there'll be that much to do to upgrade it to a full feasibility. So.
Yeah, wonderful. So what is your exit strategy for the project? So
the exit strategy is, well, we see this like the structure of the deal, the program we've worked out with the Royal Gold is that we'll effectively take our scoping study from last year and turn that into a feasibility. Aimed at 1.2 million ounce production over a life of 8 to 10 years. But that's still only on one portion of the deposit. There's still a lot more left in the deposit where we have resources, we have gold coming out of the ground to develop. So we still think we will do a little bit of work to show that ultimate potential, the ultimate size potential of this deposit. The exit strategy is, realistically, this mine will be built and operated by a much bigger company. I think that's it. And this is a mine that should ultimately be producing close to 200,000 ounces a year for quite a long time, 10 plus years. And that scale is going to be interesting to a lot of bigger companies. So realistically, whether we partner with a bigger company, whether they buy us, whether they buy the company asset only, that's all just a business negotiation based on what's best for the shareholders at the time. I mean, there's no sort of ego involved where we have to be the operator or we have to do this, we have to do that. It's whatever's best for the shareholder. But we do see that the probably the best and the least risky way to put this into production, because putting a mine into production is a point of risk in the development of a mine life. And a big company that done it before in Brazil can do that a lot simpler than we could for the first time. So I do think that there are major companies already mining in Brazil who will be very interested. There are companies that are looking to come into Brazil. So there's a lot of candidates that this scale of mine, this scale of simple operation, clean operation will appeal to. And then it's just a business decision based on what's best for the shareholders as to whether we maintain a portion and move on to another asset, or we sell the whole thing and move on to another company. It's an egoless decision. It's just based on what's best for the shareholders.
Sure, wonderful. What would you say, or what would you tell potential investors about the upside potential at the project or the different projects?
Well, right now, I think we're in a really nice situation. If you're doing a sales course or something, which we all have to do in our lives these days because everything is selling at some point, is you've got to have a good steak, but you've got to have some sizzle as well. And what I feel like with this is we've got the scoping study and we'll have the feasibility. It's 1 million ounces. It'll be detailed, engineered, low risk. We'll know it's there. It's all detailed out, and yet we'll still have another half, 2/3 of the deposit to go, which is complete upside, complete. So that's all the sizzle. That's all still there. You may remember that in March 2016, we published an exploration target range, and we said there's between 2 to 4 million ounces here. That was a really good study. And that's, we're at 2 million now. We've only drilled, 50, 60% of it. So I think there's still great upside there. And it's because it's so shallow and it's so predictable, the deposit, it's just a matter of drilling it.
Mm-hmm. So you said the deposit is really a simple one. We talked about this earlier before, and I think a couple of months before when we last talked. It's really just gold and sand or something like that, you said. So are there metallurgical challenges, or how is the processing?
Yeah, the process will be very simple. It's a sort of a moderately coarse crush by mining standards, about 150, 200 microns. We'll get 98% recovery. There are no sulfides in this, so that means your chemical use during the process is very low. Also means the environmental issues you may face from dealing with tailings and waste rock are very, very low because there's no sulfide, no acid rock drainage, which is can be a major issue. It's very clean. Like you said, it's sand and like these quartz cobbles and gold. That's about it. There's not much else in it. Because it's an alluvial, it's like a filter system. So everything else has been filtered out or oxidized or weathered away. And gold, because it's such a the noble metal, it stays there, and the silica and the sand stays there. The two most resilient minerals. So.
Okay, and you have a plant nearby. So there are the different Esperanza projects. You have a plant nearby. Is this a processing plant that would be used at the end
that would be the processing plant for the facility. So that was where the location of it was in the scoping study. That'll obviously be reviewed in the feasibility. Might be there. We may, the engineers will look at the best location for it. But we'll have a very standard CIL, CIP plant and sun destruction and then a tailings dam.
Yeah. Wonderful, Nick. Thank you very much. Anything else you would like to add, or you would like investors to know?
Well, I didn't really ask yet. The big thing is we've advanced the project over the last 3.5 years. Everything we thought we could do with the project, everything we've sort of aimed at doing and said we would do, the project has delivered, and we've got there as expected. The timelines haven't been as expected because it's taken so much longer to raise the money to do the work. That's been the bit that we underestimated. You always think, okay, well, we'll go and raise money. It wasn't that easy. So every time we drilled, we'd have to stop 6 months to raise money and then drill again. But the project has delivered perfectly. It's hit every target we've given it. Now we're in this great situation where Royal Gold have said, okay, we'll finance you, but it's got to be all the way through to the next sort of major points of the feasibility. So we'll have great news flow now for the next couple of years. As we go through this study, we'll be, and that budget that they've given us, it also includes a marketing. So for the first time, we actually have a bit of a marketing budget. We'll be out there telling the story a lot more. So for the first time since I've taken over TriStar, we actually have a longer window in front of us where we can actually do the work, run the company, market the company, tell the story, rather than be thinking, okay, we've got 3 months, we've got to do the work, then we've got to stop, we've got to raise some money. We're not doing that sort of sprint and then stop. We can really plan out our work, but it's also plan out, telling the story, getting the story out there as well. So we think we can really get this thing moving, get it exposed, get the story well known now for the first time.
I hope I can help you with that. So thanks a lot, Nick, and have a good day in Brazil. And I hope we keep in touch, and I can write something about the gold deposit here.
Okay. Thank you very
progress.
much.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay.